Welcome to Graz, to my press briefing here about the European elections and the 15 demands which I have outlined already when it comes what really should be discussed in Austria. The Austrian political debate is unfortunately going very wrong and in confused matters and internal politics, and the real big issues of Europe are not discussed 2024, and this leads to a lot of complications. And I would like to raise these 15 demands which are important for the Austrian political debate, for the electorate, to understand what really needs to be done. I repeat it in staccato. The EU must join NATO. This is very important. We need strategic unity. We need to say yes to the free trade agreements with the Americas, with Mercosur and with the USA and with India and with Australia. We must open the EU. We must be more united in NATO, with the Americans. If we want to successfully decouple from Russia and win this war, we must be more united internally, more united with the United States of America, more open to the free world, and so we can be able to really win this war, and that should be our big task and ahead. Then, of course, we have to enlarge faster. 2029 must be the clear aim. That means Ukraine in the EU 2029, the Western Balkans, everybody but Serbia. Serbia only if it changes towards the West. Currently no, but everybody else in the European Union in 2029. And yes, it's a lot of work and it's costly, but we can do it. We have done it and it's absolutely possible. This is the answer to the Russian war, more unity. The end of all Russian imports, and especially all Russian energy import. The Russian nuclear import must be forbidden. There must be a very clear no to the Russian nuclear plant in Hungary. No gas from Russia anymore in the EU. This must all be ended, and we must outlaw and ban all Russian energy imports from 2025 onwards. Then number 5. The internal development of nuclear power. Europe must be energy autark. We must send a 10 years plan for energy independence of Europe. That means we must end this ideological infight between solar, wind, coal. Where there is opportunity to use it economically and decently at European environmental standards. Even coal in Kosovo, in Poland, in Bulgaria, yes to coal, yes to nuclear in Austria, absolutely everywhere. Nuclear is a very safe and secure and clean form of energy production. Yes to solar and wind everywhere. There can be no taboos. On the mountain tops, yes to all the rivers must be dammed. The Vjosa River in Albania, yes. Of course, the Danube east of Vienna, yes to gas in Moln in Upper Austria and everywhere. This must all be lifted. We must have a maximum 10 years effort to be energy independent and also to flood the world market with European energy. And that is the way to also defeat Russia, because this is exactly how we have won the last Cold War, by flooding the energy market with the help of our allies. And that's why we have to work also globally with countries like Saudi Arabia and others to flood the energy market with cheap gas, oil, coal, whatever there is, decrease the energy costs and make sure that we produce enough in Europe ourselves. Then, of course, we must supply Ukraine with airplanes, tanks, ammunition in appropriate levels, and that's outrageous and scandalous that Austria has done nothing up to now. Compare that to Sweden, our former ex-ally in the neutral axis, and now they are in NATO and they have really performed excellent. They have now concluded a security agreement with Ukraine for 6.5 billion. This is excellent, and this we should do as well. And send all our old tanks to Ukraine and buy new ones for the future. Yes, and we have enough defense industry. Then, of course, we have the opening of land Schengen in Romania and Bulgaria from immediately, and this is outrageous and xenophobic behavior that we have not allowed that, and that must definitely come. Then the permanent opening of the labor market towards the candidate countries, this is from 2025 on, and also a permanent better social integration of the Ukrainians and Albanians in the EU permanently, also with efforts to welcome them, to tell them they can stay there forever and that they are Europeans where they can be also there forever, because they will be EU members anyhow as soon as possible, 2029 preferred, and so we must change our policy in that respect. And then I have here, the next one is already the Yes to Euro bonds. We need victory bonds funded by the EU for infrastructure, for victory, for integration of Ukraine, for the integration of the Western Balkans, for the massive infrastructure cost, for the transition in the energy system, for this energy independence of Europe. These are all very important points, and this we must fund together. And therefore we need this big infrastructure package for railways, energy, water, highways towards Eastern Europe, towards until ultimately Georgia and the Caucasus, and funded by the EU in a massive new infrastructure effort funded by all European taxpayers united. And that's also very justified and good to fund that together via European paid bonds, and it should be also European infrastructure companies. That's very important to unify Europe by railways, highways, and by the whole infrastructure funded by all Europeans together. Then we have the Euro for all Europe. I have made it very clear in several videos here. The Euro for Ukraine, for Bulgaria, for Romania. For the candidate countries it would be the same like for Kosovo and Montenegro to adopt it, and the other countries to join the Eurozone. But Poland, yes, everybody to do that together. And then we need also a clear nuclear rearmament of Europe with US nuclear weapons, and everybody to buy F-35 and to arm them nuclear in case needed. And that's the fast track to make our people safer and to counter the nuclear threat posture of the Russians. And if we are afraid, then we must answer this with more nuclear weapons in order to give our people more safety. It's also possible to buy and build own nuclear deterrent, but that's for the long term. The short term is more nuclear weapons of the Americans in Europe and everybody F-35, and so we can increase our nuclear deterrence. Clear offer for the UK, the United Kingdom, to return 2029 to the European Union. And that's very important as well. For that we need the EU joining NATO, the free trade agreement with the USA, the integration of Ukraine and the Balkans in the EU, and then also clarity to for the UK in which union it will return. And she is very welcome 2029, and there must be a referendum 2028 together with the next two general elections, and then a victory of Keir Starmer second term, and then the return 2029. And of course the break with Russia and the purging of the Putinistas, as I say on my Twitter account, and the clear that nobody who can hold political power who has worked with Russia in the last 15-20 years and was complicit with the treason to Russia and the de-arming of Europe. Yes, this is the answer to the Russian war. Russia is waging a war against us. It's not our choice. We have to wage it back and win or lose. I'm in favor of winning. And a strong and united and extended and enlarged European Union must be our answer. Austria cannot do as if there would have been nothing happening in the last 2.5 years. We cannot continue our neutrality because it's completely against European solidarity. It is a rejection of support for Ukraine. It's xenophobia and reform rejection and the taboo politics in energy and other questions, which is completely unacceptable. Our protectionism, anti-American, anti-Western populism, and this kind of anti-scientific populism must be rejected, and pro-Putin policy is completely at the end. We need a more pro-Western Austria. We need the turn to the West, the Zeitenwende in Austria, and this is what we need, and this is what we have to achieve in the coming decade, and not decade, in the next mandate, and this is what we need to tell our population. I made it very clear in English and German, and I campaign for NATO enlargement and for the turn to the West, for EU integration of Albania, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and of course for nuclear rearmament, and for Austria, which is more integrated in the European Union in the West, and it's a serious Western country, and this is what we have to achieve. Thanks a lot for listening. More I have on my longer video in German language, but you follow me on Twitter, and I hope you enjoy, and it's also enlightening. and I will just conclude in my little, I will show you this is, I think, my best and clearest way what I can now conclude in this little statement here I make here. Yes, EU, NATO is one, the EU must join NATO, and this is what we need, more unity of EU and NATO, membership of the EU in NATO. This is the future, and that's what we need to achieve. Thanks a lot, and cancel all neutrality, and let's Ukraine win and be integrated in NATO and the European Union. Thanks a lot here from Graz. Bye.